Alright, welcome back everyone. Today we're doing current capers, 4-6, and as I've mentioned before, this is one of the most difficult stages in the game. Not because that there are any complicated tricks that you're trying to get, but because you're simply trying to have very precise and clean swimming all throughout. There are two barrels that you're trying to get on cycle with Diddy in this stage because you're going to be doing a lot of damage boosting. So essentially, you're on a 3-second timer the first time around, and the second time around you're on a 6-second timer. 3. You've just the smallest bit of room for error, but that's really it. That's the first cycle. Okay, and that just about wraps up the difficult portion of swimming for this stage. If you can make it this far, you're pretty much in the clear to get the second barrel cycle. Now, the first one being on land means that it's on a 3-second timer, but the second one is underwater. So if you should miss the one on land, you'll be able to pick up the second one relatively easily, but then you will be guaranteed to miss the next barrel timer. Oh man. And there it is. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up the current capers difficult portion of the stage. That's it. Once you've gotten that barrel, you can damage boost through the anemone section, and then it's just straight up swimming from here to the end. Because of a trick found by one of our newer runners, Mr. Tiki Tombo, it's actually important to have Diddy by the end of this stage. It used to not matter whether or not you would do a damage boost through one of the spike balls, or whether you swam around it with Diddy. But you do want to hold on to Diddy if you can. There's a small trick in the intro for Fugu that is, it's actually pretty cool, so I'll be happy to show that off when we get there. But for now, we're going to go back and explain exactly how you can get through current capers in such a way that you'll catch that Diddy cycle. The first one, it's a little tight getting in between. You have to hit all the valves properly. You have to not get hit more than once because you're already taking a single damage boost. And then for the second one, you need to swim through the pipes in a very specific manner. This is definitely a stage that you're going to want to practice time and time again. So the first thing you're doing out of this intro cutscene mashing is you're going to roll over one gap, and then you're going to wait until you're slightly off the edge of the second one, right around here. That's where you're going to want to do a full jump, but you want to make sure that as you're doing your full jump, you don't accidentally hold A too long, because then you'll start to hover. That'll clear this gap right here, and then it'll be 4 hard swims all the way down to right around here. This is where I like to do a roll slightly after where I am, just a little bit after where I am. I'll do the corkscrew, and its animation will actually run out by the time I pass over the first valve. You need to be spinning in order to activate these valves. So there are 2 ways that you can essentially handle the first one. You can either spin directly into it, bonk off the wall, and then quickly correct your positioning. But I find that this way prevents you from having to worry about swimming around the wall. So what I like to do is I'll press the corkscrew right around here, it ends, and then I can just barely regain control of Donkey Kong in time to move down and then back underneath. Slightly trickier, but it also makes it so that you're slightly faster, so that you'll have more time for the next section. So for this next section here, you want to make sure that you activate this at the latest possible moment, because as soon as you activate it, there's going to be a water current pushing you back toward the left. So you want to make sure that you're right around there when you activate it. That way you'll be able to swim a little bit faster without any current pushing you back. 2, 3. Now right around here is where you're going to start doing your the corkscrews on these valves. You have more control of Donkey Kong after, or basically between each breaststroke rocket blast. So whenever you hold A, you're kind of locked into a certain trajectory with very little maneuvering in any direction. Whatever direction you're facing, you can kind of barely control where you're going, but the moment you're done boosting, as soon as you let go of A, you have control of Donkey Kong again in a way that's more similar to when he's without Diddy. So you want to make sure that you're first doing your corkscrew, and then you're giving it a second out of the corkscrew to change your direction. Out of your directional change, you want to do another full breaststroke upwards, And then before you do the next corkscrew, angle yourself so that you're corkscrewing downwards. So corkscrew right here, change, downwards, change, and then corkscrew again. You want to make sure that you hit them in that order as quickly as possible. Now you'll notice that the prickly peat next to the one that the last one I tripped, very close, but if you're next to it, you can still trip it. So you want to be very close to it, but you don't want to get hit by it. As soon as you get hit by it, you're going to lose Diddy. You're automatically going to miss the barrel cycle on land and the second barrel cycle. You want to make sure you take no damage here. It's okay if you bonk into the ground because you need to get underneath the third prickly spike right afterwards. I'm pretty close to it, so as soon as I unpause, I'm going to hope I don't get damaged. Ooh, very close. Okay. So a couple more swims right here. You want to get between those anemones, underneath this fish, and between those last two anemones. You can just barely do it so long as you've kept up with the stage at this point. And then going on the top side of the fat ass coming up, you want to make sure that you're between him and the rocks. Remember, you can always let go of A soon, and that allows you to have control of Donkey Kong again if you think you're going to accidentally swim into some spikes. You want to do a woohoo cancel when you're coming out of the water right here. It saves you a little bit more time, allows you to catch an earlier portion of the Diddy barrel. And as soon as you get on land, what you're trying to do is you're going to roll across the first platform until you just barely fall off of it, jump, and then there's basically two enemies you're going to be bouncing off of. So right here, 1, 2. And as you can see, I had a slightly sloppy first section. That Diddy barrel being like on the screen before I get to it is a little nerve-wracking. You want to make sure that you get there when you still can see a little bit of the cranky. But you're bouncing off of the two enemies, so what you're doing is you're rolling off the first wooden platform until you're off the platform entirely. Then you do a jump, and you're doing 2 full reactive bounces off of the regular tuck, and then the dick poker tuck. You want to make sure that you grab and break this barrel on the way down. Okay. So that takes care of the first section. As soon as you get out of this barrel, you want to make sure that you're pressing A at the earliest possible moment. So the moment you have control of Donkey Kong, the next section begins. You're going to be basically going against the intended route through this valve section here. It's very difficult to do, so you basically only have the 1 Diddy heart of damage that you're going to be taking, because there is a refill partway through that you just barely managed to get. So you're doing a full stroke up here. You're using the moment where your boost ends to correct your positioning. You're trying to get into the topmost section with another boost. And then one more time right here. Now you can cut this one off early if you have to, because you're trying to make sure you don't get hit by this prickle. There we go. Now you want to spin through this one, then you're heading straight downwards. You're going to take a damage boost through 1 spike and pick up a heart on the way. Make sure that you're correcting your position. You got to pick up that heart. One more time, damage boost right here. And then you're clear. That is very difficult to do. Now, on this last section, this tunneling down section, you just want to make sure that you're spinning at the earliest possible moment as you're going through it. So just make sure that you spin early. Very easy to do. I like to hover and wait, like, right. You can press A to just breaststroke lightly and correct your position. Make sure that you're slightly before it. That way, you can wait just until it's about to become active, like right around here. This is where you can start your breaststroke, just a little bit later than that. Oh, darn. Okay. So, that little bit of error that I had, we'll see how much that plays into the second barrel cycle. Now, to catch this last one, what I like to do is I like to wait like right next to it so that I can angle myself to the right and swim with the corkscrew toward the gate. Ooh, that was close. And there it is, and I was too late. So even a silly error like that, after you got all that hard work done in the beginning, you can't let your guard down completely. You have to make sure that you're getting everything right. This barrel cycle right here will cost me about 5 seconds. And you want to make sure you get it, because this next anemone section, even if you do it damageless swimming through everything, you're going to take about as long as you would waiting for the barrel and just going through. So what I like to do here is I'll like damage boost off of this third one coming up, and then you can just swim directly through the end. It's pretty much the shortest route you can do without having to worry about any of the other anemones that are in the way. You're just doing full breaststrokes from here, and then once you collect the G, that'll be the last breaststroke you want to do, even if you're starting one right there. 2 more breaststrokes right there real quick, and then swimming straight down, getting a nice boost from the current. Underneath that prickle, done. Current capers, one of the most difficult swimming stages. Certainly the most difficult on the route. It is arguable that Amiss Abyss or Irate 8 have more complex swimming. They are also completely underwater stages, but this is certainly the one that is most difficult on the route. So we'll do that one more time in time attack. Slight difference between time attack and the actual stage. Please make sure that you practice the actual stage, because the first Diddy barrel doesn't come up until after the checkpoint. So if you're going to do time attack, it is mostly for fun, but when you do the actual stage, make sure that you're starting with Diddy. That's where you're going to get all your practice for the stage. As you can see, it does take a little more time when you bonk instead of having that nice clean swim that I was showing off earlier. And if you don't damage boost through here, say you took 1 heart of damage, you're going to have to wait for those prickle bears to get out of the way. It's very tricky to make sure you don't get hit by them. The routing here is going to be slightly different because you don't have Diddy's speed to get you through it. Just make sure you don't take damage. There is sometimes a safety heart in that clam. Some of the safety hearts are RNG based, so be careful with what you're relying on. This section will be entirely the same though. There are plenty of air bubbles, so you shouldn't have any real worry about drowning. Sometimes you're low on air, but the bubbles aren't usually too far from where you are. Just make sure you're hovering not too close to the wall, because sometimes those enemies will be right in your face if you do so, and you won't be able to do anything about them. Okay. A little bit more swimming right here, damage boost. This is where the end would be. In between there, and then you're pretty much in the clear. Don't accidentally take damage from either of the spikes, be it on the top or the bottom. I believe it's an instant death, so very silly way to lose a lot of time. I had a feeling that would be my best time. I haven't done current capers in such a long time in time attack, just because it really doesn't help you as much as going through the actual stage. Please practice all the swimming that you can. Do make sure that you're taking note of how Donkey Kong behaves after every movement that you make, and especially while you have Diddy equipped, because he is going to be your partner throughout the majority of the stage. Hopefully nothing will go wrong that knocks him out of your hands any sooner, but you should also be ready to get through this stage with solo Donkey Kong, so you can still not have to sacrifice a ton of time and be incredibly careful. But that should wrap up this stage. I hope that this guide helps you. Lots of luck on completing current capers, and next time we'll be doing the 4th boss of this game, Fugu. And I hope you guys are ready for this one, because the gauntlet does not end here. We still have Fugu and 5-1 before you can take another breath, so I hope you guys are ready. Take care.